If I was to start running today, there are so many things I'd do differently to when I actually started running over 10 years ago. There are pitfalls I fell into that I'd love to help people navigate, and so today I want to share 11 things to avoid as a new runner. And of course, to all of you experienced runners watching this video, it'd be great for you to share your thoughts in the comments below. If there's something I haven't covered in these upcoming 11 points that you feel is really important, please do leave a comment. It'd be great for you to share your thoughts down there. Let's get on with the list. Number 1, avoid getting sucked into the world of marathon running too early. Trust me when I say this, running a marathon does not make you a real runner. Running makes you a real runner. I see a lot of people complete their couch to 5k journey, gently start to build up, and then they have their sights set on perhaps the London Marathon Ballot if you're in the UK. Of course, we've seen record entries into that this year, over 1 million. It is absolutely crazy. And as much as that is a wonderful thing for the sport, I've often seen people start in the sport relatively early. First thing they want to do is run a marathon. They run a marathon, it's so damn hard, and then they end up stop running after that because it's completely ruined their love for marathons. Trust me when I say you've got plenty of time, and I promise you this when I also say you will run marathons better the more miles you get under your belt. You can watch all the marathon tips and tricks videos that I produce, that other content creators produce, but the ultimate goal is lifetime miles. That is the thing that is going to help you the most when it comes to running marathons. Trust me when I say get yourself comfortable with running the shorter distances, get yourself comfortable with pacing, and then gently work into marathons. You have time. It doesn't matter what age you start running, you have time. Number 2, avoid falling into the trap of buying all the extras straight away. All you need to start running is just your phone, really. If you want to track your runs, use your phone. You don't need the fancy smartwatch, you don't need anything else other than a pair of trainers and to run. When I kick-started running, I just had a Casio watch and I just used to run to time. I never had anything else, and I used to log all my runs on a social media website called The Running Bug, which sadly disappeared out of nowhere, so I lost all of my old data, but otherwise I just used to track it on an old Casio watch, and I had a good pair of shoes, and that was it. No fancy kit, no fancy heart rate monitors, nothing. And I did that for over a year before I then started to delve into the world of technology. I promise you when I say it, once again, you don't need this sort of stuff. You just need to fall in love with the sport of running and fall in love with the feeling of accomplishment. Yes, you've just run 5 extra minutes than you did last week. Yes, you can now run a 5k in this time. Yes, you can now complete a 10k distance. These are all far more magical milestones than worrying about what your splits and paces say on your watch. There are some wonderful feelings of self-accomplishment in the sport of running, and I can assure you it comes from completing the distance and completing time on feet and nothing else. So once again, as a beginner runner, don't buy into all of the hype with all the gizmos and gadgets. They can come over time and they're fun to get involved in, but for the moment, just enjoy running. Number 3, avoid spending lots of money on shoes. Again, there's lots of us out there, including me, that produce shoe reviews and build hype around shoes, and there's a lot of marketing buzz about certain models and certain shoes that will do certain things for you, whether it's a racing shoe, a daily trainer, a speed day shoe, whatever it is. But once again, use your outlet shops. It's exactly where I started. My first shoe review 7-8 years ago now, back on the channel, were Asics shoes, because I used to always shop in the Asics outlet for a good 3 or 4 years. I then got to know the model lines that Asics had. I then started to look at other brands and realized, oh, they do similar model lines to Asics. Let's explore those model lines. You start to learn what type of shoes work for you, and then you can branch out into different brands. But again, don't waste loads of money on all the latest and exciting shoes. There are plenty of great last year models. Again, I'll let you in onto a little secret. A lot of companies love to produce new versions of shoes, and all they've got different are things like new uppers, a new lacing system, or a bit of a tweak with a foam. Again, a good example is the current Dynablast 5 from Asics. That looks to pretty much be the equivalent of what the Asics Novablast 3 was a couple of versions ago. All they've done is take what the Novablast 3 had, rehash it, relabel it, and put it out as the Dynablast 5 as a cheap model. I know a few people local to me who have bought that shoe and they say it feels just like the Novablast 3. That's what companies do. So use your local outlet shops and save some money there. Number 4, avoid underfueling. The better you get at running, the longer distances you cover, the more you'll start to understand how important it is to fuel. If you're going out in the very beginning and doing couch to 5k and you're covering a shorter amount of distance, fueling isn't necessarily quite so important. It is good to have eaten, of course, but you're not going to be thinking about it quite as much. You are going to want want to be fueled, of course, but it's not quite as important. But as the distance progresses and as your time on feet progresses, so you're going to want to make sure that you are well fueled, because again, back in the early days, for me in particular, I used to always fall foul of not feeling well fueled and then wonder why I felt so rubbish on a certain run, but the day before I felt okay. And over time I started to realize that actually it's really important for me to put something decent in my body if I'm going to start running these slightly longer distances. So as you extend your distances and time on feet, so it's really important not to fall into the trap of underfueling. Number 5, if you can, avoid running 100% solo for your whole week. If you can get out with friends, or if you can get out in a run club, it will make the world of difference. Not only is your perceived effort a lot less when you're out running with other people, you often have more fun and the time absolutely flies by, and you get back and you don't even feel like you've run as far as you have. Yes, I understand all of us, including me, have to get out on our own schedules, fit it into our own family lives or work-life balance. That's absolutely fine. But if you do have an opportunity to share some miles with other people, make sure you do it. Yes, running is a solo sport, but it's so much better with friends. I do my best to get out at least once a week with some friends, and I highly recommend it for you as well. Number 6, avoid using metrics to tell you how you're feeling. A lot of people, a lot of more experienced runners, shall we say, tend to use things like pace, or they use heart rate, or they'll use lactate testing, or they'll use power meters to tell them how to train. They might have certain workouts or certain runs where they've got to run within a certain range with whatever data that they want to, and that's absolutely fine. That's exactly what I tend to do as well. But as a beginner runner, once again, as I just go back to the fact that I said I just used to run with a Casio watch and I had no idea about anything, it's really important to learn breathing patterns. That's how I really started to dial into how I was feeling. There is no form of data out there that's going to tell you how you feel more so than your body. You might go out there one day and feel great at a certain pace and the next day not so much. Is it lack of sleep? Is it because you haven't fueled very well? Is it because you're starting to feel under the weather? Whatever it might be, there are plenty of reasons as to why that might be the case. I urge you, if you can, start to learn breathing patterns. 5-5, 4-4 breathing patterns are a brilliant place to start for easy running. That means for every breath you take, you can take 4 or 5 steps, and then every out breath 4 or 5 steps, every in breath 4 or 5 steps, every out breath 4 or 5 steps, and then you can start to work down to 3-3 patterns and 2-2 patterns. And these are the fundamental pillars of how you actually feel when you're out running. And as you become more experienced and more advanced, you'll learn how long you can hold those effort levels for. So once again, I'd highly recommend not running to any form of data. Use it after your runs to analyze, see how you feel, track progress, that's great. But when you're out there, do try to learn to run by feel. Number 7, avoid comparisons with other people. Oh boy, it is absolutely the thief of joy. That's what they say, and I can confirm I have let comparisons get in the way in the early days so many times. It robbed me of some great memories because I thought I should be faster than this. I'm training with this person and they're way faster than me. What's going on? Why aren't I faster than I am? This is really frustrating. And I never actually absorbed the fact that I had just completed a race. I completed a training block, and regardless of the result, I had a good time whilst I was out there. What you have to remember in all of this is it's your journey, and it's only really you that deep down this affects. It doesn't particularly affect anybody else, and really no one else is going to lose any sleep over a good performance or a bad performance that you have had. It's only in your head where you're going to be playing games with yourself if you are trying to compare yourself with other people. Yes, sometimes we can have frustrating performances. Yes, it's really annoying. Those feelings will never go away, but sometimes it's really important after that to give yourself 24 hours to process those results and then step back and go, well, do you know what? I'm healthy. I completed a training block. I did the race. It didn't quite go to plan, but I'm in a position now where I can carry on with the sport and jump into the next training block. And ultimately, that's what we want to do. Keep stacking up those days, those weeks, those months, those years. Number 8, avoid the mentality of just running. So what does that mean? Well, ultimately, as new runners, as we get into the sport, potentially previous injuries in life, if we're getting into the sport later, might rear their head as we start to run. So therefore, we might need to work on certain areas. We might need to work on our form. We might need to do a bit of strength and conditioning. Now, for me, I don't do any other aerobic cross training. I don't do cycling. I do a lot of walking, but there's not really a lot else I do. But what I do make sure I do is proper warm-ups and cool-downs on my workout days. What I also do is drills and strides to help iron out any kinks in my running form. My running form's not the best, but I can make do with what I have and make sure I'm as strong as I can possibly be. And I also do a lot of mobility work because I sit at a desk all day day, and again that has been revolutionary to stop me being injured. Touch wood, I've been injury free now for over 3 years, and it's a wonderful feeling. It's very rare that I skip my mobility. It's very rare that I skip my drills and strides. In fact, I've increased that from once a week to twice a week now. And I can't even remember the last time I didn't not do a warm up and cool down. There are lots of elements that we and you will find out as you start running that might be a weakness within your body. You might need specific exercises to target weak areas. For me, again, I do lots of glute activation and glute work as well as upper body work. You might find that you need to do a little bit extra mobility just because your hips are a little bit stiff from sitting at a desk all day. Or you just might find that actually general all-round gym strength is a massive help to your overall running form. And so therefore we shouldn't just look at just running is going to get us better, because ultimately if we don't address any of those potential injury risks, then we're going to have issues later down the line. Number 9, avoid all the glitz and glamour of the big races and get down and support your local races. Now, I'm not telling you necessarily to completely ignore all of the big races, because they are super fun to get involved with. But please don't build your whole race calendar around all of those big events. It's wonderful to get involved in some of the smaller local running club events. These are the grassroots. These are the people that hold up our sport. Those events often have a great range of runners that cater for all abilities, so you will never ever feel out of place. They're wonderful to take part in. You are helping grow the sport. You are helping support those local running clubs. And in amongst all of that, if you're doing them local to yourself, you're going to start to see some regular faces, make friends. But not only that, you'll often start to see familiar faces at lots of local events. You might end up making friends with these people, and it's great to just generally catch up with those people that you often see at these races. So it really does add to the social side of the sport, which, as I have said previously, can be quite lonely if you're out there training on your own. So I highly recommend jumping in and getting involved, not only with the big glitz and glamour races, which of course I highly recommend and you should get involved in, just don't build your whole race calendar around it. Get involved with the local running club stuff as well. Number 10, avoid running fast every day. So my mentality when I started, and a massive pitfall I fell into, was I assumed I had to just go out there and run as fast as I could every single time I went out for a run, and that's the way I would improve. And it is absolutely not the case. Now, you will hear so many stories from so many different people of so many different ways you can train, and as a coach myself, I have done so much investigation on the best ways to train, how I like to train, how other athletes work with different training methods. It's wonderful to get involved in that side of things, but what I do know is it's really important not to run fast every single time. I probably did it for about 6 months and absolutely burnt myself out. Again, if you're a beginner runner, there are plenty of great beginner running plans out there. Your running club should be able to help, and if you do see those familiar faces at running events, do ask them how they recommend training and what they've used in the past, and if they've used any particular plans. There are plenty of people out there to guide you and give you advice, and the second you start getting some good structure in place is the second you'll see some big improvements. And finally, point 11, speaking of structure and improvements, try your best to find a weekly routine that works for you. It's great to be able to run relatively consistently week in, week out, and your body will thank you for it. If you run 5 times one week, 1 time the next week, have a couple of weeks off, get out 3 times a week after, that sort of training just isn't going to benefit you in the long term. Yes, over a 365-day period, you might end up a little bit fitter than what you were at the start, but ultimately, if you can run 3 days a week every single week, that is far better than being more sporadic with your training. Your body appreciates routine, your mind appreciates routine. You start to know when your certain days that you're running are, you know then you can feel well, get ready with your mobility, make arrangements with potential friends if you are going out, and get everything sorted so that you run on those certain days. I appreciate, especially with a family, that doesn't always work out, but if you can do your best for most of the time, then it makes a humongous difference again over that 365-day period. And again, I promise you, you'll be so much further forward as a runner a year on than if you're a bit more sporadic with your training. Now, of course, I've only touched the surface with all of these points, just giving some little tidbits and advice. I could take deep dives into all of these topics and it would be great talking points, but I thought it would be important to share it in this format. And then of course, if you guys have any questions off the back of it, please do drop them in the comments below, and I do my best to get back to as many of you as possible. And just a reminder, if you are one of those experienced runners that has made it all the way to the end of the video, if you feel I've missed something really important, please do drop it in the comments below. It'd be great for you to share it with the newer runners that are watching this video and of course share your experiences. It just adds to the value. And if you are a little bit further on with your running journey and you are considering jumping into potentially a training plan, check out this video up here where I talk about the pitfalls to avoid in a training plan. And if you're looking for some tips to help you become faster as a runner, check out this video down here and I'll see you guys over there.